Tuesday morning, as we are most Tuesday mornings. Lake Lewis Jr., host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube, our Raisin Hill Commanders Insider, CBS 6 Commanders Insider. Blake, good morning. You've had some time now to decompress after what was I imagine it was a little tense of a press conference, because it feels like it's gotten to that point of the season where the team kind of feels we may be out of this.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel like they may be out of this. Yeah, it was definitely intense. That was the first time, I think, in a long time, if not ever, I saw Dan Quinn. You know, he looked remorseful. You know, he really did. And I don't think it hit him directly after the game. But I know when he spoke to us yesterday, in our Monday conference, he definitely, he came out and said it was on him. That Jayden was out there, and he's kind of owning up to it. So,
yeah,
I don't have a problem with what he said, but my problem was why is Cliff using Jayden the way he's being used?
I think that was the part where, and look, I was sitting in the parking lot for a really long time, getting out of Northwest Stadium after the game. It was like an hour just to get out of the lot. So I turned on the sports talk radio right after the game to hear how the fans were reacting. And a lot of them, the callers that were calling in, the guys hosting the show, they were all kind of saying the same thing of you have to protect Jayden from himself. He's a guy who wants to play. But the issue I have is more with Cliff not figuring out how to protect him, especially after the MCL sprain in week 2. Even since then, you're allowing him to scramble. It's seemingly you haven't taught him, hey man, let's slide, let's try to protect yourself. And I don't necessarily have a problem with him being in the game at that point, because 2 weeks ago we saw the Broncos pull off this insane comeback. Now, you can't necessarily expect that, but it is the NFL.
It is, and and I think they saw that and probably thought, why not us?
But with how they were handling it with Jayden,
good point,
was the issue. It wasn't him being in. It was you can't block anyone. I mean, they were putting Leonard Williams standing up over the center, and he was
going right by him.
Watch it. You're just like
literally.
And then Jayden scrambling for his life constantly, and it just felt like there were no and not. I kind of feel like I'm on this soapbox about it all.
No,
that just feels like the issue this season, where it's like, here are the 4 issues. You can't defend. Your run game is lackluster at times, and Jayden Daniels is playing the superhero role. And it's like, okay, how do we fix this? I don't know. We're gonna run it out and do it again.
I think the 4 things is, you mentioned, I literally just said this yesterday. The 4 problems to me were, 1, Jayden gave you false hope from last year's Jayden, meaning this kid is so good, and he still is, that he can bail you out at times. Okay. The second thing is the injury bug. It's a real thing. It doesn't. You can't use it as an excuse, but it absolutely can be a reason why things aren't going well, and it is a reason for them. The third thing is the Terry holdout. That kind of, put a little bit of a wrench in the, I don't want to use the word unity, but it was just a bad look overall for the organization and for everyone involved in it, And more importantly, it took away the cohesion that they would have needed to build during, training camp. Okay. And then the 4th thing is the biggest thing to me. I think it's the coordinators for this team have been extremely outcoached and out-schemed with no answers in sight. And that's the biggest thing. The best thing that could happen if you are a Jayden supporter, which I am, which most of this fan base is, if not all, the best thing that could happen with an injury like this is that now Jayden and his folks are going to have all of the say and upper hand in how this thing is going to get built going forward, because you saw it, I saw it over the last couple weeks. He's had no weapons, and I understand the injuries and things like that, but I mean weapons like, that you see some of these other young guys have.
Oh, like an all-pro receiver in Terry McLaurin. You have not had him for most of the year. And when he was out there, he wasn't himself.
And he wasn't utilized. We've seen over the course of his career where scheme-wise, Why is it that he had 2 targets? Why is it that he had 1 catch? That's inexcusable. We saw a game a couple weeks ago. We talked about it right here on this set. Jamar Chase was targeted,
20 million times.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't want to hear guys are being taken away, and I don't want to hear, on defense, Frankie Louvu's being treated like a big. Okay, well, don't have him get treated like a big. Put him in another spot.
It's funny because I think what hurt too in that game for Commanders fans, and it's from what I heard sitting in my section, you look across and Jackson Smith-Njigba is the best wide receiver in the NFL. As of right now, I feel comfortable saying he is playing like the best wide receiver in the NFL. And you know what they do?
Did you see how they used him? They hid him behind the line of scrimmage a couple times.
9 targets.
Yeah.
Where, so you can't tell me Terry's getting schemed out of the game. How's Jamar getting 20-plus targets? How's Jackson Smith-Njigba, first player in Seahawks history to have 4 straight games with 100 receiving yards or more? You can't tell me, and that's right there where you're getting.
And who's the number 2 receiver in Seattle?
Me.
Thank you.
Cody White had that 60-yard touchdown. It's all in good fun. We had great Commanders fans sitting around us for that game. Mm-hmm. I turned to one Commander fan. I was like, bro, Joe Witt Jr., That's Cody White's first catch of the year, and it's a 60-yard touchdown. And he has 6 career catches.
That's what I'm saying. I asked that question not to be disrespectful to Seattle's second and third receivers, but who are they? The point was the number 1 target on the field was targeted, was put in motion, was put in the backfield. I mean, they did everything imaginable. Isn't that supposed to be what Cliff's supposed to do with Terry, with Debo? I mean, yeah, Debo comes out and they give him the little quick toss, But after that, it's like, okay, Jayden can't even drop back, and he's already in the shotgun. It's just, to me, they've got to look at philosophical changes because they're not bringing out the best in this young man. They're getting him killed. Why in the world was he out there? I said it in my post-game stand-up. Why was he on the field at that time? I get it if you are a quarterback and you're fully healthy and you're coming back and you're rusty and you want to have him work some reps in there. Okay, I understand that. But this guy just missed the last 2 games with a hamstring injury. And then a game before that, he missed time with a knee injury. No, he didn't need to be on the field. That was a botched call right there.
It's also... not saying I don't know what people's theories are on universe and manifesting and all of that, but the aura and vibe inside of that stadium when he went down.
It was amazing.
Everyone.
It was amazing.
Oh my God. RG3 all over again.
People sat down.
Yeah.
The crowd that was standing. So it was like he went down and you heard and then when he tried to get up for a quick second and he went back down holding the arm and you could see. You heard the gasp. It was a gasp in the press box as well.
And it's just and I think Allen has said this before too, where it's you got to stop putting, and I think RG3 even went on Twitter and was saying this, but if you believe it, manifestation or whatever it is, something weird is there is so much negative energy being put at Jayden too, where I think his mom has even said this.
Yeah, but you know what? And so, we just did an event this weekend with Regina, and Jayden was there as well. And just the love that the fan, people were looking at this guy like he was glowing like Jesus or something. I mean, seriously, they had that feeling with Robert, before he got hurt. It was like a new buzz in town. No one had seen something like that. Well, it's so for Commanders fans, former, obviously, Redskins fans, it's more than just Robert and Jayden. It's Alex Smith. It's Joe Theismann. I mean, it's been a lot of injuries. Hell, Joe Burrow got hurt on that field. I mean, it's been a lot of catastrophic bad injuries. And in fairness to, the fan base and people saying that this is why the PTSD is real for a lot of these fans, is because those injuries that were sustained to burgundy and gold quarterbacks were career-ending type of injuries. So when they saw Jayden go down and you see this grotesque look on his arm, you don't see stuff like that. And then, so naturally you're thinking when he went down, I think for most people who didn't see it, obviously, they probably were thinking, is it his knee? Is it a leg?
That was from the angle that we were in section 112.
Yeah.
You couldn't see hit. All you saw was him go down, then he was down. And
right.
So everyone where we were is that like,
yeah, you naturally thought it was a knee injury, of course, like, because he's had these leg injuries. Well, no, when you saw that, the beauty of this, though, and hopefully it's a good thing, is that, the same people who talk about his frame and the wiry frame and all that, that could have been his saving grace in this injury, because it seems like it's a dislocation. Naturally, we'll know if there's some nerve damage or ligament stuff like that. But it seems like for right now, this is the type of injury that even if they were, let's just say they had a winning record, you could talk about him coming back this year to play. I'm going to say this, though, on record, he will not take a snap the rest of this season.
And I don't think he should.
Absolutely not.
According to the New York Times playoff probability tracker, which is my favorite playoff probability tracker, 1% chance to make the playoffs at this point.
Nobody's hitting the lottery this year.
And so at this point, you got to wash your hands, figure out what you got. I mean, was it McGee at one point? He was flying around. He made a couple good TFLs.
And so did Tyler Owens.
Yeah, maybe we see them. So where do they go from here, right? Because
you just said it. I mean, you were just saying it. They have to go younger. And I'm not saying you take all the veterans off the field. They deserve the opportunity to still be on the field. But this is a team that has to figure out some things going into next year. You can start talking that way now. Does anyone think they're going to beat Detroit? Detroit's coming off. You get Detroit at the worst possible time. They just lost to Minnesota, So, they're going to be upset. If you listen to Dan Campbell's presser the other day, I was like, oh, my goodness, it's going to be ugly. So you say that if you're Washington, this is the time, like today, you should be a seller. You absolutely should. You should field all calls except for number 5 and see what you can get. You have to start planning for next year, and it starts now because you do have some talented young guys. And I said this Sunday, what is going on with some of these younger players, like guys that are on the field? Why are they regressing so badly? To me, that has to be coaching. I don't know what is being asked of them. But Mikey Sarenstow does not look like Mikey Sarenstow of last year. I know he's playing in the slot. Well, if you see him struggling in the slot, why have you not put him to the outside? And when Marshawn went down with the knee injury, Jonathan Jones was on the outside. And Jonathan Jones has been a career slot cover guy. He was on the outside, and Mikey still was in the middle. I'm like, what are we doing?
and even the Marshawn Lattimore stuff. And I know he's dealing with injuries. He's been dealing with injuries the last couple of years. But the way he's regressed, it seems, just exponentially this season. Marshawn Lattimore, now, we all know when the trade was made, it was like, could he still have his all-proness in him? It's clear he doesn't, but I don't think he's actually this bad. Seattle was picking on him in that game.
They were, and there's no way he is. He was a grabby, physical guy. It just, I don't know. They play zone at times when they're supposed to be press covering. On one of the touchdowns Seattle had, Mikey was in press man and never touched his guy. Guy just ran right by him, and he got beat by like 15 yards. Those are the things that you can't tell me that these guys don't know how to play football. I really, truly believe it's a combination of both. Some of them have missed their assignments, yes. But a lot of this is scheme, because when I'm watching other teams play against Washington, they are literally picking on the weakest links of their scheme, and they're attacking it. And I don't see Washington doing the same on either side of the ball. If you know you're playing a team that's terrible against the run, then why is it, you're passing? Seattle's great defense, but you have a gimpy quarterback at the time. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Jayden at 80%, okay? And you come out in this game, and I think the first 7 plays for Washington were pass plays.
And they ran the ball pretty well.
Inexcusable.
And Chris Rodriguez is the best running back they have. Like, Bill Krosky-Merritt, he got so much hype, and I think he's got talent.
But Chris runs hard. He moves the chains.
And they seemingly don't want to use him. They showed pregame, here are the team's leading rushers, and number 1 was Bill Krosky-Merritt. Number 2 was Jayden Daniels, who had missed 3 games up to that point. And number 3 was not McKissick. why am I blanking on his name?
Oh, no. Jeremy McNichol.
McNichol, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I always want to think he's McKissick back
No.
in those days.
Yeah, yeah.
McNichols was number 3,
Yeah.
and Rodriguez.
But even Jeremy's run well. And,
he was
and
averaging 8 yards a carry this season.
So why not just, as a committee, use all 3 of these guys? Take some of the pressure off of Jayden. But we already know this is not being had. Thursday, it's going to be must-see listening, must-see television because Cliff and Coach Witt, talk to us, and there's a lot that they have to answer. And I can fairly say a lot of our colleagues, not all of them, but a lot of our colleagues have given some of these guys the benefit of the doubt because of the injuries. But come on, man. I mean, you go back the last 3-4 games, this team looks worse each week. It's just bad.
And I think they got some of the benefit of the doubt because of last season's success. And it was like, okay, they do have an ultimate eraser at quarterback, one of the top 5 QBs in the NFL. But because of the injuries, he's more like a top 15, 16 guy, closer to 15, 16 with the injuries, that they're not able to overcome it. And Cliff, on the offensive side, feels like he's keep trying to give him the superhero cape to JD5. And then for Joe Witt Jr., I just, watching that game, it was genuinely just like, look, I know Seattle's offense is good. I know Clint Kubiak
but come on, man. Sam Darnold was like 12 for 12 before he willingly threw an incompletion.
And it was just like, Sam Darnold, he's been good this year, but he's not that good. I know he's not that good.
Listen, the Seattle media I was sitting by, they were like, wow, like, who is this guy? They were like, this is really bad. Like, this defense is bad.
Well, the first drive of the game, I turned to Eva, my girlfriend, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a bad game. Like, this is going to be.
There was little resistance.
They had 20 yards of penalties on their first drive, and it didn't matter. They got to 2nd and 5, and then it became 2nd and 25, then it became 2nd, and it was just like, oh, if they need 25, they'll get 26.
They'll get 26, exactly.
And then, and it was JSN every time too. And it's like, how is he wide open in the middle of the field?
Wide open. They ran those slant routes to perfection, and it just, I've been seeing it all year. And you just shake your head like, what's going on here, man? I vividly remember a couple times in the game turning around and looking back up, and I saw our guy Allen, and we just shook our heads, man. Like, we just knew the only thing about the night was gonna be the food. That was it, man.
The food was good this time.
Yeah, that was gonna be the only thing. And then the monitors went down too.
Just add insult, yeah, of course.
Doing us a favor, honestly, guys. I will say, I once again could not make it through the all 22s. Watching this team, and I don't consider myself.
Did they even film it for that?
Man, I don't consider myself a guru.
Get rid of this.
But there's just so many fundamental errors when it comes to this defense, and like I said, even the blocking now is seeped into the blocking. The tight ends and receivers don't look like they know what they're supposed to be doing, and it's messing up the run game. I don't blame the running backs. Like I was explaining it to Jack, there are so many plays where Ertz and these guys are missing assignments, and the linemen are pulling, and they've got to pick up who they missed, and that's leaving a linebacker open. It's just a terrible failure by the staff this year, some kind of way. I don't know what happened, but they look incompetent this year, and we didn't see that last year.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I believe that a lot of guys, on the field, if you talk about lack of talent, I don't know, because last year I remember seeing Jayden, I remember seeing Terry, I remember seeing guys bail these guys out, make tough plays.
Well, the talent's there because there's a reason why I picked them. You probably picked them.
I did.
A lot of the NFL media pick them to be the NFC rep in the Super Bowl. The talent is there. They just have not executed. And typically when you have the talent but the lack of execution, that falls on the coaching staff. And I think that's very much, and then of course the injury bug, that doesn't help. But it's just weird. You lose to a Falcons team that just had gotten goose-egged by the Panthers, and then you let them look great against you. It's just been a weird season.
And that's, you hit it on the head. It's one thing to lose a game and you lose it and it's a tightly, hard-fought battle. But then it's another thing when you lose a game and the game's over at halftime. Like, literally, you were there. That stadium was emptying at halftime.
They waited for the Art Monk jersey retirement.
And they were out.
Congratulations to Art Monk. That was really well done.
Yeah.
And then they said, all right, It was the first score of the third quarter by Seattle that I've never seen that many fans leave a stadium at once, and it wasn't the end of the game.
This was, I'm one of those people that keeps trying to tell fans, move on. It's not the old regime. It's not the same, and it's not. Let's make sure we know that it's not. But that game in particular felt an awful lot like the old days, and I don't mean the old days, Super Bowl era old days. I mean, it was the closest to carnage as far as the performance on the field, to your star quarterback getting hurt, to the fact that you had a legend in there you were honoring with all those alumni. You're wearing the old uniform, and you go out there and just get obliterated.
Lay an egg. Like, within an instant, that Jayden Lane fumbled kickoff, within an instant, you go from being down 14-0 to you blink, and it's, this feels insurmountable. And on that play where Sam Darnold hit Elijah Arroyo right after the fumble, JSN's wide open in the corner of the end zone. They had
take your pick.
Yeah, they had 4 guys open out in the route, and he picked the guy that was most covered, but it still worked out for a touchdown.
I mean, I just say, if you're going to drag me in the alley, I'm going to show some resistance. Something on the ground, I got to get it. There was no resistance. Yeah. It was like they accepted their fate. And then when Jaylen fumbled on the kickoff return, it just, they were down 14-0 then. Okay, you're like, okay, listen,
take a breath.
They've got to get together here, and what do? They just come out, boom, boom. I think 2 plays they were in the end zone. Yeah, it was just like that.
So with this, we can kind of put to bed, and we'll keep talking Commanders throughout the season, but kind of put to bed Commanders playoff. For the Seahawks, you see them in person. Now a lot of the predictive metrics really like Seattle. Where do you think Seattle stacks up in the NFC as a whole?
I think if you, not based on if you win your division or whatever the seedings would be, but I think if you look at it from a sheer talent standpoint, I would probably have them maybe at 4 or maybe 3. See, I think them and the Buccaneers are very close, and they played Tampa extremely close. Should have probably won that game. But I think the 2 front runners for me are Philadelphia. Until proven otherwise, they're the best team in the league. Okay, so Philadelphia, and I think the Rams are right there. I think the Rams look really good. So they're playing well because their defense is playing well, and then they've got a Hall of Fame quarterback in Matt Stafford. Detroit's going to be there. I don't see any reason why, but they've kind of sputtered offensively in what they're trying to do, and they're probably going to get right, of course, come Sunday.
Probably this Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. This is a get-right game for them. So I think Seattle's right there. I do. I think they're really good. I think they're probably looking like Washington was last year. They're a team that you might not want to get in the playoffs because they could end your season quickly.
It felt like, and this is me putting my Homer hat on, it felt like in that game, very similar to the 2013 era Seattle Seahawks.
Not bad.
Where it was a primetime game, and I referenced it. It was a San Francisco 49ers game, and I apologize, Alan, for bringing up a game you've probably memory hold over there. But it was, the line Vegas had was 2.5. This was supposed to be a close game, a back and forth type of game.
I was surprised when I saw that, by the way.
Did I run to the Fanatics Sportsbook inside of like Northwest and alt spread it to
you? That was
made
begging,
a couple
begging for your dollars.
Yes.
Like
that
seriously,
was one of the easier bets I've made all season. But it felt like a 2013 era game, supposed to be a close game with the 49ers, and you blink and they were up like 30-0, and it's like, oh, this team has that potential.
They do, but you also have to take it with a grain of salt because they were playing
no resistance. The worst.
They were playing the Little Giants on Sunday. I'm just being honest. That was
it was rough.
Yuck.
It wasn't the team that Vegas thought that was coming out for why they made that a 2.5 point line.
I still, for my money, they hit on all of those bets. Like sometimes you say, how do they know this? I mean, you could be playing, West Texas State versus Northwest Texas State, and they're dead on.
Yeah.
That was not it.
That was something. So look forward to Commanders Lions on Sunday. Maybe can pull something out, but the fact that it's revenge for Detroit's coming off of an L. But hey, it's the NFL. We all thought at least me, I thought the Colts were going to blow out the Steelers, and what do you know? So maybe weirder things have happened.
That ain't happening. And listen, I cover this team. I'm there every day. Listen, that's not happening. And I mean, they're catching Detroit at the wrong time. They're going to come in here, and I know they're going to have their fan base travel for this. That I've like one of my good friends from Detroit, who's a Commanders fan, was ironically at the game Sunday night, and he was like, I'm telling you, next week, all my friends from Detroit, they're all coming. Yeah, it's just going to be one of those games. Can Marcus and them, right the ship? I don't even know what the ship is anymore to right. I just know that fans just want to see a better effort, because I don't use the word quit ever, and I don't think these guys have quit. But you can't tell me they're starting to question what are they supposed to be doing? Did you see? You were there. Did you see up until the last millisecond before the ball was hiked by Seattle on every drive, every play, the defense, they're like talking to each other and not even in place.
There was one play in particular that I think it was someone came down and was flailing, trying to get Luvu's attention to move over because they did a motion.
It was Bobby Wagner trying, and this is why I tell people, you're always getting on Bobby and calling him old and can't do this, can't cover. This guy's out there coaching literally his team. It's unbelievable.
Seattle did a motion, and I think Luvu didn't pick it up, and so he didn't, move over to. And they're like, you got it, and the ball was snapped, and I think it was JSN. I think it was his big catch over the middle.
Absolutely,
and it was just like, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, and this has been happening all year.
Season, yeah.
Everyone talks about Pittsburgh and how their defense looked against the Colts the other day, and you know what they did? What they did was they said they scaled the defense down so they could play fast. Boom.
That's all it takes. So we'll see how it plays out on Sunday. It's going to be a test for the Commanders. Lake, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for stopping by each and every Tuesday. Lake Lewis Jr., host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube and our Raise and Hail Commanders Insider. We're